Hi.
I'm so happy you're here. So, you suggested somebody else.
Yes.
But you previously told me about your short film.
Yes.
Like, I actually want to interview you.
Okay. So here I am.
Yes, here you are. You served in the U.S. Army
Mm-hmm.
as a nurse.
Yep.
And after like the Exit 12 and Trump, and you became more active with the veteran community.
Yes. 3 years ago, I found this amazing person, Stefan Wolfert. He was doing this amazing veterans outreach program. He's become my mentor, and because of him, I've become really engaged with the veteran community. And honestly, I never identified as a veteran because I wasn't a combat veteran. So I didn't feel I had earned the right. But then I started taking class with everyone and really becoming embedded in the community. And one night, this 25-year Green Beret veteran said to me, MJ, because of what you did, being there for my family and for me as a nurse, I knew that you were there for me. So that enabled me to do my job. So from that point on, I identified as a veteran.
And how did that, taking the classes and taking the workshop and with your mentor, like how did that help you in your healing journey?
I think my mentor is very gifted, and he combines using Shakespeare with science.
With science?
With science to mitigate trauma. So he has the backing of the scientific community in the healing of trauma by using breath and by rewiring the brain so that when there's a trigger that you're able to cope. I'm not explaining this in any way, shape, or form close to how Stefan would, but let me just say I've witnessed the healing, and it's incredible work. His organization is called De-Cruit, and it's built around the premise that we're recruited, but we're not decruited on the other end when we rejoin society.
Love it.
Yeah. So I've witnessed this healing work, and Shakespeare is an incredible tool. Number one, because iambic pentameter mimics the heartbeat. So when you're speaking the verse, it's ba 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 ba. And that automatically connects you to your body.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. I never even thought about Shakespeare as in like this heartbeat pieces.
Yeah, the meter mimics a heartbeat.
Oh, wow. Well, Shakespeare is such a brilliant, one-of-a-kind of language to begin with.
Absolutely.
And then using that for a healing process and really backing that up with the breathing and science. Oh, wow. So how are their reaction? Are they a lot of people new to Shakespeare work? Or
Oh, yes. These veterans that we work with, they're not necessarily actors. But they take to it and they embrace the language and the poetry and the imagery, and they frame it in such a unique way because of everything that they have been through. But also Shakespeare wrote a lot about war. There are lots of soldiers in Shakespeare's canon, including females. So it's just this incredible tool, and plus the beauty of it. Is just so compelling.
So this De-Cruit, you just mentioned that there is a male and female. Do they have a different type of reaction or adaptation towards this work?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Just human. It's human.
I'm blown away by this breathing stuff and like really being able to drop into the body in that way.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Exit 12 right before we started rolling, but I think that really gives us a permission to get out of our head.
Yeah.
Especially when we're not dealing, doesn't sound right at this moment, but like when you're working with trauma, and it blows my mind to think that Shakespearean work came there, and then there are another theater in a dance form to really help these veterans go not go through it. Oh my god, all these language doesn't seem so appropriate.
I've been using the word mitigate because it doesn't seem charged, but healing.
Absolutely.
Healing in a visceral way.
Was there, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this, like was there any moment that really you may or may not have been personally beaten the pieces, like a jazz pieces or Shakespeare pieces, or they're working on? Like, was there by watching somebody doing something, and that really caused you, or like it became your healing process?
It is because you embark on the journey with the veteran, and because of my background, I can empathize. But they're so open and so grounded that you become one with them as they're doing the work. You breathe with them, you feel with them, and that compassion, having that level of compassion in the room, in any space, if you can experience that and then carry it with you on a day-to-day basis, that's such a gift.
How does the community work together, or like do they develop even deeper relationship amongst each other?
Yes, I think once you work with anyone in an artistic way, there's a bond that's created, and I think that lasts because it's so vulnerable to work with someone in this way, and there has to be so much trust and belief in each other that those bonds remain. So we carry through. I mean, I have incredible friends that I've made in this community, and people whose work I've watched develop, and I respect them so much. There are writers out there whose use of language is just extraordinary, and they're just beginning to get the exposure that they deserve, not only for their work in helping other veterans, but for the sheer artistry of their work, their use of the word, their ability to tell stories in such a compelling and honest way. And I keep using the word visceral because that's what I keep getting to. In the military, when you do boot camp, your boot camp training is just so physical, it's so visceral. And then to come and use dance and breathing and Shakespeare to help your body understand that it doesn't need to remember all of those very difficult physical feats. Your body can remember to exist and to breathe and to support you and not be in danger.
And it's such an intimate connection that they get to create in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. The word serenity came to my mind right at this moment. And while I was watching in the Exit 12, the level of almost celebration, because they get to connect with each other in such a different way. That celebration for freedom, celebration for healing, that I felt that. So do you experience something like that as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, unbridled joy. And we should mention that Roman Baca is the founder of Exit 12. And he's an extraordinary person, a Marine, and a classically trained ballet dancer. And he formed the company and then realized that to further his purpose, he needed to do outreach to veterans and start using his knowledge of dance and the knowledge of what veterans have been through to help them, again, mitigate their trauma. And so Roman is a Fulbright scholar, and he's working in London right now. And luckily, Square is doing this series about entrepreneurs and how they fulfill their dreams. And so they brought Even Odd Films and documentary crew in to film this exquisite piece called Exit 12, Moved by War.
I didn't expect to connect dance and the military work.
Sure.
And I'm sure that I'm not the only person who doesn't connect the dot like that. But because of that, the level of healing, the level of connection, the level of intimacy and release that it gets to create through that work, it's just so amazing. I was so moved because their movement and their facial experience, including you, and was such a pure being. It was legit being. They didn't need to put effort to tell story because they are the being. They are the story.
We are soul. We just happen to be in the form of a body. But that we essentially are soul. And that's what I think you're talking about.
I think so too.
It's that ability for the soul to be seen. It's an inside out.
Mm-hmm. There you go, inside out. There you go.
Transformation, and that's what anybody wants. Anybody who wants to be in love, anyone who's living a purpose-driven life, they want to connect soul to soul, heart to heart.
Absolutely.
Mind to mind, not. I won't say the alternative negative. I'll just say that's what people want.
I just want to look at you and the way you even speak, it's so present, right? Because you take a moment to really create the space in between words, in between the phrases.
Because that's where the thought comes from, right?
Yeah.
And if you're constantly chattering, how can anything come through, right? And it's just here, right? But if you're grounded,
you're hearing it, yeah.
Right. If you're grounded and you're feeling your heart and you're taking in the breath, then there's space for the thought to form and express itself on the next breath. My short film Trumped, I developed that with the work I did in class, because what we were doing was we were using personal narrative combined with Shakespeare to be able to mitigate the trauma. So the personal narrative, you experience or you re-experience the traumatic event or the troubling event. But then once you combine it with a piece of Shakespeare that has a similar thread or tone or theme, you can put the trauma into the Shakespeare. So that you're transferring the trauma into a piece of work like Shakespeare. And then when you speak the Shakespeare, it just flows from the body and you're experiencing it, but through a character. And it becomes safer to be able to know that you can distance yourself from the feelings, experience them, but distance the trauma that they cause so that you're not reliving the trauma when you speak those words. So it's this rewiring tool that, yes, this happened to me. Yes, I honor that this happened to me. I share that this happened to me. But when you transfer it into a piece of text that's not you, but a character, there's this amazing ability to have some distance from it. And then to complete that and look around the room and realize that you're safe.